ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Bella, are you able to share screen and take care of about half an hour or so?
Yeah, Brahmaraj. Yeah. I'll be going for long kriya, but that will be managed.
So we have to start from verse number 27.
Here, Brahmaraj. Verse 27.
1 minute, let me just check. We stopped yesterday. No, not 27. Well after 27. We finished, I think we came to part 4. We finished 31 also. Yeah, it is 32, 33. Idam Shariram Kaunteya is also done. Sorry, I think I gave you the wrong number.
Yeah, Idam Shariram Kaunteya.
Yeah, we did the Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the differences between.
Yeah, we did yesterday.
So it's actually verse 34 we have to go to. Maybe you can start from verse 33 and then go down to 34.
First, 33. So that is from Dwichatvarimshat, chapter 13, verse 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Bhagavanuvāca idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidhiyate etadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. O Kaunteya, This Shariram is said to be Kshetram. The knower of this is said to be Kshetrajna by those who know Tat Kshetram. From Dwichatvarimshat, verse 33, and from our Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, shloka 3. Kshetrajna chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattajnanam matam mama. O Bharata, know me to be the Kshetrajna in all the Kshetras. My opinion is Jnanam, is that which knows Kshetra and Kshetrajna. I should not repeat the text, right, Pramaraji? Directly go to verse 34. I will just say the 6 items which Arjuna wanted to know, the import of 6 items. These are very important. Remember, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetram, Kshetra, Gneyam. So we had seen yesterday, Ramaraji had nicely differentiated the Kshetra, Kshetrajna. The last paragraph. The knowledge that helps make clear, unambiguous, and doubtless distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, and also the knowledge that helps root one in the Kshetrajna is considered to be Jnanam by Bhagavan. The one who gains this Jnanam is also considered to be none other than Bhagavan. Jnanitvamaiva me matam. That is chapter 18, verse 7, I believe. Jnanitvatamaiva me matam. I will just check chapter 18, verse 7. No, I think it is chapter 7, verse 18. Udara sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam asthita sahi yuktatma mamevanu gatim. So that was from chapter 7, verse 18, the definition of Jnani. It is little wonder that Bhagavan Ramana, the Jnani, liked this couplet of verses as a part of Dwichatvarimshat. Next verse is verse 34 from Dwichatvarimshat, and from our Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsva vinashyantam yah pashyati sa pashyati. Parameshwara, non-destructible. Kshamyatam, I think it was verse 28. I read 28 only, right? Chapter 13, verse 28. Yeah. Parameshwara, non-destructible amongst the destructible, resides equally in all. Whoever knows this is the seer. It is as though Kshetrajna is renamed as Parameshwara, the supreme Ishvara. The prefix Param to Ishvara may be poetic excellence in this verse. It is now good to recall the verses 2:17 and 18. I think from chapter 2, 17, 18, which essentially state that understand that Tat, which pervades everything, is indestructible, and these bodies, kshetras, have an end, destructible, while the indweller of the bodies, kshetrajna, is everlasting, indestructible, and is the very subject. So let me just find out chapter 2, verse 17 and 18. I think yesterday Brahmaraji had said, but I will just try to read once again. Avinashitu tadvidvi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamavyayasyasya na kashit kartumarhati. Antavanta ime deha nityasyoktah sharirinah anashino prameyasya tasmadyudyasva bharata. So I will just read the purport of both these verses from there only. Know that to be indestructible, by which all this is pervaded, none can cause the destruction of that, the imperishable. It is said that these bodies of the embodied self have an end, but the self is eternal, indestructible, incomprehensible. Therefore, fight, O Bharata. So that was from chapter 2, verse 17 and 18. It is as though Kshetrajna is renamed as Parameshwara, the supreme Ishvara. The prefix Param to Ishvara may be poetic excellence in this verse. It is now good to recall the verses from chapter 2, 17 and 18, which essentially state that understand that Tat, which pervades everything, is indestructible, and these bodies, kshetras, have an end, destructible. While the indweller of the bodies, kshetrajna, everlasting, indestructible, and is the very subject. Please let me know if my voice is clear. Parameshwara, the kshetrajna, being one and invariable, resides equally in all. Ishvara of kshetrajna is Satyam, Jnana, Anantam, Sat or truth, Chit or Jnanam, Anandam or Anantam can only be one, individual and invariable. This is so because any division or multiplicity in Ishvara will not only render Ishvara as parichinnaha or limited, which contradicts the very Ananta Swarupa of Ishvara, but also renders Ishvara as Asat, one Ishvara knowing or limiting the other Ishvara, and as such, one Ishvara becoming an object for the other Ishvara, and hence both becoming objects which are perishable, and as such, Asat, as all objects are. I just repeat the last line. Parameshwara, the Kshetrajna, being one and invariable, resides equally in all. Ishvara or Kshetrajna, who is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Sat or truth, Chit or Jnanam, and Anandam or Anantam can only be one, indivisible and invariable. This is so because any division or multiplicity in Ishvara will not only render Ishvara as parichinnaha or limited, which contradicts the very Ananta Swarupa of Ishvara, but also renders Ishvara as asat, one Ishvara having or limiting the other Ishvara, and as such, one Ishvara becoming an object for the other Ishvara, and hence both becoming objects which are perishable and as such asat as all objects are. So Bhagavan has clearly stated here that it is one and the only one indivisible, invariable Parameshwara. If you want me to repeat, please let me know. Consider what is said in Dwichatvarimshat, verses 33 and 34, which are from chapter 13, verse 3 and 28. Part of verse 33. I think it was from the 18th chapter, I believe, or 13th, verse 33. Kshetragnam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. And part of verse 34, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Kindly forgive me. Let me know if my pronunciation was different. So this is from the verse 33 and 34, which we just read few minutes before. So both the parts of the above verses state the same thing. Thus, the essential oneness of everything that we see, cognize, or imagine. In a nutshell, the oneness of the essence of the universe, which includes all of us, is beautifully portrayed in the above verses. Despite this, we foolishly entertain such evil qualities like misplaced ego, leading to vanity and pride, jealousy, hatred, anger, and their derivatives, which are all products of just two things, that are raga dvesha, which are in turn the products of ajnana. So, what is required is jnana to elevate ourselves to the state of Parameshwara. If only we convert the raga of everything else to Kshetrajna or Parameshwara, and the dvesha of everything else as though to the world of objects, then our lives will have been fruitfully lived, and we will have a chance of rediscovering the Bhagavan in us. Bhagavan Ramana lived a life untouched by Raga Dvesha, and as such was fond of this verse 34. I'll just read it, it's very, very beautiful. So, in both the verses 33 and 34, both the part of the above verses state the same thing. The essential oneness of everything that we see, cognize, imagine. In a nutshell, the oneness, the essence of the whole universe, which includes all of us, is beautifully portrayed in the above verses. Despite this, we foolishly entertain such evil qualities like misplaced ego, leading to vanity and pride, jealousy, hatred, anger, and their derivatives, which are all products of just two things, that are raga, dvesha, which are in turn the products of jnana. So what is required is jnana to elevate ourselves to the state of Parameshwara. If only we convert the raga of everything else to Kshetrajna or Parmeshwara and the Dvesha of everything else as though to the world of objects, then our lives will have been fruitfully lived and we would have a chance of rediscovering the Bhagavan in us. Bhagavan Ramana lived a life untouched by Raga Dvesha and as such was fond of this verse 34. If anyone wants to share or wants me to repeat, just let me know. Then the next is from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 35, and from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 33. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyam, yatha sarvagatam saukshmyat, akasham nopalipyate, akasham nopalipyate, सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते. Just as the all-pervading Akasha, owing to its being subtle, is not tainted by what it accommodates, so too Atma, which pervades all bodies in all their states, is not tainted by what Atma pervades. I repeat, just as the all-pervading Akasha, owing to its being subtle, is not tainted by what it accommodates, so too Atma, which pervades all bodies in all their states, is not tainted by what Atma pervades. The one sun is reflected differently in different pots of water. The pots may be differing in size, material, beauty, value, and the like. Further, the pots may contain different qualities, quantities of water, and based on the above pots and their contents, the reflections of the sun could be various and varied. This does not in any way affect the sun and taint it. So too the Akasha, which is all pervading, beginningless and endless, and which accommodates everything, including all of us in the universe, is not tainted by what it accommodates. A dark object cannot render the Akasha dark. Neither would a brilliant object render the Akasha brilliant. A lame person cannot make it lame. Neither would a sprinter render it any faster. Akasha does not move because of its all-pervading nature. There is no room for it to move. The fragrance of the flower cannot make it fragrant. Neither the sewage waters render it foul. The tiny atom cannot make any insignificant. Neither would a massive galaxy render it expansive. In like manner, Atma or Kshetrajna or Parmeshwara, which contains in all the bodies, kshetras, in all their states of being, is not affected or tainted by the qualities of the bodies or kshetras. Atma remains in its glory as ever, like even the Bhagavan Ramana on whom this
Jai
verse
Gurudev
was.
Bela, 1 second.
Yes.
I think intermittently there is some break, there is some disturbance in the
Yeah.
voice. Can I request
And
anyone else to
yeah.
take over? You can share the screen.
Yes, I can continue sharing.
Sumaji, are you able to read for some time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
kindly repeat the previous paragraph as there was continuous disturbance. So from the meaning you can start.
you.
Yeah. I hope you
Just
see
as,
this. Yeah.
yeah, just as the all-pervading Akasha, owing to its being subtle, is not tainted by what it accommodates, so too Atma, which pervades all bodies in all their states, is not tainted by what Atma pervades. The sun is reflected differently in different pots of water. The pot may be differing in size, material, beauty, value, and the like. Further, the pots may contain different quantities of water, and based on the above pots and their contents, the reflection of the sun could be various and varied. This does not in any way affect the sun and taint it. So too, the Akasha, which is all pervading, beginningless and endless, and which accommodates everything, including all of us, in the universe, is not tainted by what it accommodates. A dark object cannot render the Akasha dark, neither would a brilliant object render the Akasha brilliant. A lame person cannot make it lame, neither would a sprinter render it any faster. Akasha does not move because of its all-pervading nature, there is no room for it to move. The fragrance of the flower cannot make it fragrant, neither the sewage waters render it foul. The tiny atom cannot make it any insignificant, neither would a massive galaxy render it expansive. In like manner, Atma or Kshetrajna or Parameshwara, which obtains in all the bodies, kshetras, in all their states of being, is not affected or tainted by the qualities of the bodies or kshetras. Atma remains in its glory as ever, like even Bhagavan Ramana, to whom this verse was very dear. This is verse 36, chapter 14, shloka
It is
25.
Kshamyata. It is from Dwichatvarimshat, verse 36, and from our Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 25. May I just read?
Yes, please.
Yeah. मानापमानयो तुल्यस्तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते.
Whoever takes praise and censure, so too friends and foes equally. Whoever takes praise and censure, so too friends and foes equally. And whoever has given up all undertakings is said to be Gunatita. This is one of the verses that Bhagwan this is one of the verses from Bhagwan in reply to Arjuna's query regarding Gunatita, the one who has sublimated Raga Dvesha, who is free from the clutches of Ahankara, who is devoid of the Kartutva Bhoktutva Bhavanas. Bhoktrutva Bhavanas. Kartutva and Bhoktrutva Bhavanas. Who knows that it is the Indriyas which perform all activities, who knows that he is the mere witness for whatever happens around him. Such a person only can have a Samatva Bhavana mentioned in this verse, to be able to treat praise and censure equally, to be able to have the same attitude towards a friend or a foe, is very significant achievement in one's spiritual life. Besides this, to be in a position to give up all undertakings or to give up the craving towards undertakings would be possible for a person with the above laudable qualities. In this context, it should be clearly understood that giving up all undertakings means giving up all activities with a self-interest, desiring some self-benefit, and not giving up activities for the benefit of mankind. Such a person would act out of happiness and not for it. It is relevant to recall here verse 3-22, wherein Bhagavan said that he has nothing required to do in the three worlds. This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 22, where Bhagavan Krishna said that he has nothing required to do in the three worlds. Neither is there anything that he needs to obtain, nor is there anything unobtainable for him. Even then, he would indulge in activities for the benefit of mankind. Such a person, like Bhagavan Ramana, would doubtless like this verse.
May I just chant the 22nd verse from chapter 2? Name
Yes.
parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptamavaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. Dwichatvarimshat, verse 37, and from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 5. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to read that.
Yeah, I will just. Nirman mohajit samgadosha adhyatma nitya vrutta kama dvandva vimuktas dukkha sanyairgachanti muda padmavyayam tata.
Free from craving for honor and free from delusion, devoid of the defects of attachment, ever thinking of Atma, free from desires, free from pairs of opposites like happiness and sorrow, the one who is not a dunce reaches that Abhyayam Padam. So here Bhagavan says one who is not a dunce.
Sorry, Sumaji,
Yeah?
could you please read once again?
Yeah. Free from craving for honor and free from delusion, devoid of the defects of attachment, ever thinking of Atma, free from desires, free from the pairs of opposites like happiness and sorrow. The one who's not a dunce reaches that Abhyayam Padam. That Abhyayam Padam, the ultimate freedom, is attained provided one is free from the desire to be honored. The desire for honor is born out of inflated ego, which requires to be understood and sublimated with proper, continuous, and adequate efforts. Free from delusion born out of ignorance of oneself. One is born with this delusion, repeated thoughts pertaining to who we are. How did we come into the being? What is the meaning of life? Who are our parents, brothers and sisters? What are we to accomplish? What is death? What is the life after death, etc.? And regular satsang, which would answer the above questions and would help dilute this delusion. Free from attachment, for it leads to misery and binds one firmly to the samsara. free from desires for happiness, or free from binding desire, free from ragadvesha. These are real enemies, and hence we must strive to reduce their hold on us and ultimately eliminate them, especially if their effects are binding. Free from the pangs of pairs of opposites like sukha dukkha, janma mrityu, shitoshna, heat and cold, bhalyam, vardakyam, childhood and old age, vardakyam, nirmama,
Vruddhapyam.
vriddar, okay,
Vruddhapyam.
vriddakyam, nirmaya, amaya, niramaya and amaya, sorry, niramaya, welfare and illness. This is possible by proper understanding and assimilation of such knowledge. In this context, it is good to recall the verse 2.14, which clearly states that the pairs of opposites are inevitable. These are non-constant. These are to be understood and patiently sustained during their tenure. Lot of things to practice, no?
May I just read the chapter 2, verse 14?
Yes,
Kindly correct me if my pronunciation is wrong. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama payino nityaha tam stitikshasva bharata.
free from stupidity and delusion. This is verse 2.55 through 7.1. Then 12-13 through 19. 3.18 through 12. 6.1 through 3. When properly studied, would be real auxiliary to get rid of this delusion. The tatparya of the above verse is given here under for assimilation and benefit. I think we should do this as homework practice.
Yeah, these all points. Sumaji, I'm sorry. Could you please say it little loudly? I think if maybe my internet is not allowing me to hear properly, maybe, but I'm not able to hear properly.
Okay, I will repeat the 7th point, or you want me to repeat all the 7 points?
Can you
They are
repeat
equal.
all 7 points, like
Yes,
from the
they are
starting
like
point?
our. Yes.
Yeah, this is the essence, no?
I think yes, the Gita is very well.
Yeah.
Here.
That avyayam padam, the ultimate freedom, is attainable provided one is free from the desires to be honored, free from the desire to be honored. The desire for honor is born out of inflated ego, which requires to be understood and sublimated with proper, continuous, and adequate efforts. So not desiring recognition, all that, honor. Then free from delusion born out of ignorance of oneself. One is born with this delusion, repeated thoughts pertaining to who we are. How did we come into being? What is the meaning of life? Who are our parents, brothers and sisters? What are we to accomplish? What is death? What is the life after death, etc.? And regular satsang would answer the above questions and would help dilute this delusion. So many times repeat part 1, part 2 course. Because that is where we do these exercises, no?
Yeah, sorry to
Though
interfere. We also have to repeat, recall here the Bhaja Govindam. Ka Mata, Ka Pita. Who are, I mean, there it is said, no? Even the
Mm,
when she sees the dead body of her husband, she wants to get rid of him, right?
yeah. Though we have heard this many times, but it is not there on the top of our mind in our regular activities, isn't it? Do we think who are we? How did we come into being? I do this only in the courses when I attend or when I teach, but otherwise, sitting and contemplating on these questions is not my practice so far. But after today, I think we should do this as a practice, homework practice. Third one is free from attachment, for it leads to misery and binds one firmly to the samsara. This is very easy to understand and also we can practice this. Quite easy, I think, because dispassion comes naturally with our sadhana. So we can slowly get this free from attachment. Then free from desire for happiness or free from binding desires. This would differ from person to person, right? Because each one's desire will be different and our attachment to those desires will also be different. Then free from raga dvesha. These are real enemies, and hence we must strive to reduce their hold on us and ultimately eliminate them, especially if their effects are binding. So another practice, we're going to sit and do this, our raga dveshas. Then free from pangs of the pairs of opposites, like sukha dukkha, janma mrityu, shitoshna, heat and cold, bhalyam and vridhakyam, childhood and old age, niramaya and amaya, welfare and illness, etc. This is possible by proper understanding and assimilation of such knowledge. In this context, it is good to recall the verse 2.14, which clearly states that the pairs of opposites are inevitable. These are non-constant. These are to be understood and patiently sustained during their tenure. I long for summer, shitoshna. So I'll have to sustain patiently, knowing that it is a cycle I have to bear. So we all have to bear. I don't know how many of you are able to bear heat and cold. I am not able to. Free from, am I audible?
Yes,
yes, you are
Sumaji.
audible.
Yes.
Okay. Free from
Jai,
stupidity and
Jai,
delusion.
Jai Gurudev, here I want to ask that some Shitoshnam is actually, does it mean that actually the temperature outside, how much your body or your skin can bear? I think it is the inner meaning of that is if anything goes a little bit this way or that way beyond your likes and dislikes, then you should be able to go through it. Immediately we tend to react no to the situation. I think that's samashitoshna dukkheshu. Does that mean the inner meaning is this or actual physical bearing the temperatures of 50 degrees and 0 degree temperature and all? Can somebody explain that? Jai Gurudev.
I think it
It
is.
is like both way, I think.
Yeah, it is both.
Yeah.
Because you
Because
see all the
body has limitation. So how can you expect that everybody should be able to bear 50 degrees centigrade beyond and then bear
Oh,
below 0 degrees?
I think the
This is
input here
something.
is not that you should go and stand in 50 degrees and say, I'm able to bear it. No. If you're in a situation where there is
Correct.
excessive heat, then you still maintain your stability. You're not swaying too much. You're not like averse to that. The whole point is to bring your mind to a balance, irrespective of pairs of opposites. And these pairs of opposites, Bhagwan has mentioned, Shita and Ushna, when it's very cold, the normal tendency is to say, oh, I'm feeling very cold, and you normally reach out to get something warm. Are you able to withstand, forbear that? It is all for the forbearance. That matra sparshastu kaunteya, shitoshna sukha dukkada. So when your senses encounter sense objects, there will be pairs of opposites that erupt. And he's only giving an example. But this does not
Correct.
mean we go to the extremes and say, okay, I'm able to bear it. No, it is in case you are put in a situation, are you able to withstand? And of course, based on the temperature, if there is a solution, you of course go and take care of that. It's not like you put your body through torture. That is not what is meant. No, it is your inner stability, and then you do whatever is practically uh, required. But after a while, like for Siddhas, if you look at Gurudev,
Yeah, I
there
was
is
coming to that.
he, yeah, uh, they have a sense of control over they're even beyond these pairs of opposites. So therefore, even in the coldest of winters, when everybody else is huddling up with lot of winter wear, he is just walking around with his regular dhoti and angavastram. So I think here in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Gurudev very clearly mentioned the functioning for a siddha is different from the functioning for a normal sadhak. So although that is our goal, we need to understand that we at this level, this is what we're going through. So I think that little distinction we should have in our mind.
I, I would like to share something here. I went through a situation when I was doing with Chayana an advanced course in a rainforest called Karmashila. He holds regularly every year courses there in different languages. And I went to do the English course there. And when you go for nature walk, I mean, not even a handkerchief dries there within the 4 days of the course. So you cannot wash your clothes there. I made the mistake of washing and then I had to repent. I had to carry wet clothes back to Udupi with me. So what I'm trying to say is during nature walk, in spite of wearing everything possible, rain gear, raincoat, wind cheater, whatever, we still got wet. It was raining so heavily there. And Chayana sends us deep into the forest with guides and all to see waterfalls or takes us to a cave and all that. And then when we come back, we are fully drenched. Our clothes are fully wet inside kurta pajama and all that. And one day after that, we have satsang. And during satsang, because of the wetness in my body, I was going into cramps. And then I just looked at Gurudev's photo. A huge frame of Gurudev was there. And I said, Jitna tap karana hai, kara lo. मेरा तो कर्म कट रहा है. I just fought with Gurudev like that mentally. Like, whatever tapa you want me to do, let me do it. My karmas are getting cut like. I just fought with him and I surrendered to him literally. And then, like we have in the advanced course one process where we say everything is changing, this too will change. Then this is how it is. This is not going to change. And then Gurudev explains it in summer when you go out and stand at 12 noon waiting for a bus, you are going to feel hot. It is not going to change. Third is use your valor to whatever extent. I fought with Gurudev. I look upon it that way. This is the way I was doing my manana sort of. And I did my best, my purshat I gave. And then finally, when I surrendered to the master, my whole body was devoid of cramps. The moment I fought with him and then surrendered, my whole body just freed itself from all cramps and all that. And I was literally free. And even in spite of being wet, we never got cold, we never got fever. So it's the state of the mind of how you want to bear cold and heat and all that also. How is it that the body became free from cramps just when I surrendered? So the state of mind is so important. I was feeling cold and then the cold left me when I surrendered. Jai Gurudev.
So beautiful and profound. Dhanyavad for sharing.
I've heard Swami Jyotirmaya also says this. He lives in German ashram. He also wears only normal cotton dhoti and shirt, and he said in one of the interviews that he doesn't feel the requirement to put on extra clothes, but when I need it, I will use it, he said. He very diplomatically said that at this point of time, I don't feel the need for extra winter clothing, but when I need it, I will use it. So that gave me an insight that what Brahmaraji said, that people who are at a higher level of their spiritual journey are able to withstand these temperatures. I don't know if everybody has to go through, but I'm just amazed at how, like, my husband can withstand extreme temperature and I cannot. And I keep complaining and he doesn't. So I was just thinking that when I read this here, that to pass through this spiritual path, you have to have this heat and cold also you have to bear. I don't know if I'm right, but these are just thoughts going through. It is that balance, that equanimity, no? With all the senses. Again, I don't know if I'm thinking right. Childhood and old age. That is something we can relate to, but as I'm getting older, I feel really scared of old age. Because suddenly you have to, everything will slow down, no? And you become dependent. In childhood, it didn't matter, but in old age, I don't know. And Niramaya and welfare and illness. Niramaya and Amaya. In illness, how much of equanimity are we able to maintain? If it is short illness, okay, but if it is a prolonged illness, so it's all practice, exercise for us to stay in this samatva bhavana. So with this knowledge, we have to practice it. This is possible by proper understanding and assimilation of such knowledge. So this is where I don't know, proper understanding and assimilation. I'm not clear on that. What is proper understanding and assimilation?
See, the thing is, if you look at the verse Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate, where he talks of yoga and kshema, right? So all these pairs of opposites actually boil down to that. Yogam is what apraptasya prapanam. What you don't have, you want to get. So for instance, Niramaya and Amaya, if you're ill, you want to get health. And kshemam
and
is
maintain health.
And maintain
That
it.
is.
Kshemam is praptasya rakshanam. So you protect whatever you have. So all our life, if you look at it, is caught up in yoga and kshema, and we think we are the ones doing it. But what Bhagavan very clearly said in that verse, chapter 9, was Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ejanav Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I will take care of the yoga and kshema. What you do, you just have to put your attention on me and propitiate me, pray, surrender. Whatever you do, keep me in your focus, not yoga and kshema. I will take care of your yoga and kshema. So if you look at that, if we keep that as our, the goal, and surrender and say, you take care of my yoga kshema, I will just do whatever I have to do in the spirit of karma yoga. I will continue going to the Shastra, doing my Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That is what I'm here for. So when we have this understanding, then automatically our raga, dvesha, all of that will slowly start thinning out. Isn't
And
it?
drop the kartutva and
Kartritva
bhoktrutva
and the
bhavana.
bhoktritva. Yeah. So the pairs of opposites again will not be unruffling us as much as they would be if we are focused on us attaining our yoga and kshema.
So this is proper understanding and assimilation of the knowledge to some extent. Okay.
What I
Thank
think,
you.
the 6th point which you are reading, what I think that all these sukha dukha, janm mrityu, childhood, old age, and welfare, illness, all these opposites, and how a human can it is that the depth of the intensity, to connect with the higher consciousness or Ishvara depends on own personal what you have gained out of all your journey, your spiritual journey. So how much you can sustain and how much with how much intensity you connect with that Ishvara, that even if there is a lot of sorrow in your life, still you are connected with him. Though the age you are in, old age, you are in a compromised state, still you are connected with him. And especially in the illness, when your body is not supporting you, and even your mental mental part is also affected in illness, you don't have that composure. I think that time, in all these grief situations, it is that the intense effort or intense feeling which you have for the Ishvara, that would only connect you to your spiritual practices, that you, okay, whatever is happening to my body, whatever is happening around me, or whatever I am undergoing through, it will not shake you. It will not, you will not waver off from that path. It is that depth of intensity that we have to develop, that we
Correct.
don't shake from our, and this to develop this is a very difficult task, because in common in a common living, how we live, we have all these comforts, and what little sorrow comes, we get shaken up. So it is a lot of practice at the mental level, that we have to again and again reinforce, seeing all these opposites in our life, thinking that it is not in our hand, we have no say, we cannot do anything, it is all happening. what is in our hand is to just to undergo it and ask him for that Shakti that he gives us for that, so that we can forbear it and we can move ahead. It's only asking for that strength so that we can forbear it and accept whatever is happening around us. The only quality I find is that Sahan Shakti should be the utmost, and we should be asking for that.
Very
Otherwise,
beautiful.
we will not be able to overcome these opposites easily. If we think we are doing it, we can't do, because as a human we are so weak. We cannot do. It's until unless his Shakti is with us, we will not be able to do. So whenever sorrow comes, whenever other like which are not suitable for you, or which are against your your worldly matters, whatever is happening, it is the opposites happening. It is only the strength with which you come out of it that makes you one step higher, and it develops that Shraddha also. The Shraddha also increases. Like they are just like this, one thing is below and one thing is higher. You get connected, you get one thing, and automatically all other qualities get associated with that. Yeah, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, here one example I want to share. It's a very beautiful thing. Kashi Bhaiya, all of us, we must have heard about him. He was very young. He was student in IIT, and very initial years, maybe his first or second advanced course, and a lot of ants, those red biting ants, uh, crawled on his body during one of the meditations, hollow and empty meditations. Not only one, but so many of them were on his body. And still he didn't move a bit and went through the whole meditation. So I think this is the epitome of example, whatever we have discussed just now. And that time his age was also just late in his teens, or maybe very early 20s. Such a young boy, and he could bear through the whole thing. He said, Ki, I was completely in that hollow and empty state. So I think this is the ultimate example we can think of. Jai Gurudev.
Okay, and if we
Thanks for sharing.
yeah, if we identify ourselves with the Kshetrajna, the problem is we are identifying ourselves with the Kshetram and all that Anatma that the Kshetram stands for. The body, mind, senses, intellect, ego. Instead of that, if we identify ourselves more and more with the Kshetrajna, the space that is untainted by whatever happens inside of it. Like the examples given, a black, something dark cannot taint it. Something which is lame, a person who's lame cannot slow it, or a sprinter cannot make it move faster. So we are that. The whole thing is delinking ourselves from the Kshetram and all the Anatma that it stands for, and linking ourselves with the Kshetrajna or the Atma, the Paramatma. That is one. And bhaktas, normal people, they want to avoid misery. They say, please God, I don't want misery, I don't want hardships. But bhaktas, true bhaktas, they say, give me misery, because that is the time when it gives me an opportunity to think of you. So they do not, they're not averse to misery. And I think every opportunity we have is like putting all this knowledge into into direct practice. So nothing, any hardships that we're going through, any challenges we're going through, whether it is a challenge or it's an event that brings us elation, something good, something that boosts our ego or deflates it, either of them. I think if we are in that state of welcoming these states and identify ourselves with that kshetrajna, that aspect that does not change, then we will have that equanimity inside of us.
This is so profound, Brahmaraji, so much grateful. This is the ultimate knowledge actually. That means you had to transcend the Deha Bhav, which most of us, most of the time we are into Deha Bhav. Because we identify with body and its functionings and everything. That is why the effect of this Shitoshna and everything is so profound. Once we transcend that and more into that Kshetrajna, then automatically the troublesome thing, the mind basically will be able to go through any opposites more comfortably, not with the pain. This is today's discussion, I think, is the ultimate one for all the sadhaks. Thank you so much, Shekhar.
One thing I wanted to share, like I was listening one discourse of Premanandji. He's a sage in Vrindavan. What he was saying that for a sadhak, the dukh is, he was saying in Hindi, the dukh, pratikulata and avyavastha. These three are the gifts for a sadhak, so that he can walk on this path, and it is like a blessing for him, so that he can evolve and gain that Ishvara Bhakti, or that merge into that higher consciousness to be on this path. These three things he was saying that, and it just
What are the
struck
three
that
things?
dukkha, that is sadness. Pratikulata is that like the condition which are not congenial. Pratikulata, opposites things you get. And avyavastha, like nothing is in an ordered fashion. Everything is like, it's all matlab sab bikhra hua. Nothing is according to your
Chaotic. Everything is chaotic.
yeah, everything is chaotic. Nothing is happening according to your what you desire. All opposites you are getting. So
Is pratikulata, I was understanding
Adversities.
adversity,
yeah,
is it? Okay.
pratikulata, yeah. It is that what conditions which are not normal, or you
Conducive.
can say, yeah, conducive. Yeah. So these three,
Not conducive, right?
yeah, not conducive. So these three, if you are having, then you think you have that blessing of that Ishvara, because when you are having these things, then you are whole in every second of the time. You are connected with him. What he meant to say was that you are always reminded of him when you are in all these conditions, and that is what we want, that we always remember him, until unless as a human we forget him, and we divulge ourselves in other activities, or we enjoy, or we engage ourselves in various activities. But when something constantly is there in your life, that always pricks you, and that always reminds you of him. That is what he was meant to say, that you will always be in his like Naam Japa. You will always take his name whole day. This is what he was. He focuses mostly on the Naam Jap. He always says that you do Naam Jap, nothing more. So these are the conditions which will lead you to the Naam Jap. All the uncongenial activities going around you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Jai Gurudev. I'm not able to digest this part. Like, I need to go through adversities and through pain, and then only I have to remember God. This part I am unable to digest, because once long back I had heard this, and then I really felt that why would anyone want to pray for pains? Uh, just like that, can we not remember? I mean, maybe I'm averse to pain and sorrow, but somehow I'm unable to digest this part. Like through jnana also, we would know God, and isn't that would be beautiful to know that that Tatvamasi, or and then remember him rather than being in pain and sorrow. Remember him.
See,
Can you?
pain and
One thing
sorrow
like
are inevitable. No, Rinan.
Jai Gurudev.
They are pairs of opposites and they are inevitable.
Yeah, but
Whether
praying for
pray
you
for
keep
them.
me all the time in pain. How is that?
No, that is not the thing. The thing is, the bhakta is what he is welcoming of pain. He says, normal person is averse to pain. They say, no, I don't want pain. Whereas a bhakta says, he welcomes pain. He is not averse to pain. That was it. It was not like he's praying to get pain. No. But then the fact
Again,
remains,
I would say welcoming or accepting. These are two different things. And then praying for pain is a different thing. Or whatever you give, let me take that as a prasada, is a different thing than
correct.
saying that give me pain and give. This is what even the prayer which somebody, it was long back, and then I felt little funny that why would anyone ask for pain to remember God? This was my question. And
But then,
I don't,
isn't it
maybe.
true? Isn't it true that in your happy times, people don't remember? It is only when you are sad, and only when you're miserable, that you even think of Bhagwan. It is for a
That would,
student, for example, isn't it?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that way, in order to be yoked to Bhagwan, misery, when even Gurudev says, when you go through misery, you grow spiritually in leaps and bounds. When you're in those lowest moments and you're hooked onto the spirituality, you grow in leaps and bounds. So it is misery that keeps you grounded. So it is not like it might be true that they're praying for misery because that is what keeps them grounded. But then I think the whole import is not to feel miserable, not to feel, but so that is an should I say a catalyst for them to remember God, to be yoked to God. That is the whole thing. Because happy
Example is
is spaced out. They don't remember. They're happy.
I want to add something here. Example is
Then
Meera. Meera has everything, but she has a pain of that division, Duja Bhav. She want to just merge into it. So there was a pain. So it is not physical pain or mental pain only. Even if you
no,
have
here I want
everything, there
to
will be
mention.
pain.
Here I want to
Pardon?
mention one thing: the intensity changes. See, in the happy times, we definitely remember God. We are doing everything according to whatever the scriptures are. But when we are in trouble or when we are in pain, the intensity, definitely the intensity is different. When we are going through the trouble time, and especially remember that example when somebody is drowning in the river or in the water, and naak muh mein pani aa gaya. That time, what is the stage of your mind and whatever it is? That is the thing, the ultimate thing which really gives you the experience of the divine, or you can say that you are 100% with that. even Gurudev says, no, peak of the anger, 100% when you are into that, it is the that experience, but after effects of that are not conducive, because then the energy depletion after such pangs of anger is very bad. So the intensity of that pain or the misery actually gives you the experience of the highest very easily, quickly in those moments. Definitely, the intensity plays a major role compared to happy times and troublesome, miserable times. What do you say? बहुत फर्क पड़ता है intensity में.
Yeah, it
That's
also
हमारा
depends
very true,
upon,
but
yeah,
it's for realization that I am that, do I have to go through this pain? Because what we are studying over here to go beyond pain and pleasure, right? So why we want to get stuck into the pain and just remember that God is there? Where here we are trying to say that I am that, and just being on the this realm and saying that I want pain to remember you.
yeah, it is like there are different type of sadhak, you know. It all depend upon oneself, what type of sadhak you want to become. To If you want your life to be smooth and peaceful, and you want to enjoy your life activities also, then you will not be wanting pain from him. You will just pray for your smooth life. That is for you are achieving for that worldly life. You do not want him as your goal. It is what that your life should be peaceful, and you should not have any sadness. You should not have anything which is not desired by you. Then you will pray for your uh, this thing. But if a sadhak wants to achieve moksha, or he wants to merge with that highest consciousness, then that is the attitude I was talking about. That if you want moksha and you want to be, you don't want to gain birth again and again on this earth. So that desire, that persistent desire, which will elevate you from this journey of birth and death, then that is constant praying for him, which comes only when you are in a constant some constant inputs are there, that you are in that situations, that you are automatically, you are remembering, like you we haven't sorry, read this in, like the child in a womb. Didn't we read that for 9 months he prays because he was in unsuitable conditions? He is in that condition. He constantly remains there in that, he doesn't like it there. It is not conducive. So he constantly reminds himself that I will, as soon as I will come out, I will pray to you. But that is other matter, that he, under the effect of Maya, he forgets. But that constant praying of him to Ishvara, that you just I will be in your service all the time. That constant thought which the fetus is having in the womb, it is just like the same thing when you come out and you desire that you give me that. It is not that you are asking for, it is that I want to be reminded again and again. So it is, it would happen only when you are in undesirable conditions, or you are facing something. It is not that you desire a bad life. It is that you desire to not to be born again on earth. So it is that desire which is leading you to this. It all depends on the intensity of the sadhak, what he wants from his life. If you want a peaceful life, then naturally you won't ask for pain and other things which you do not desire, which give you sadness, or which you like this. Yeah, thank you.
Jai Gurudev, once we know this Maya itself is very painful, to go beyond that, well, I think the prayer could be just the mukti, right? Just go beyond this liberation. This is what my question was. And not get stuck into praying only for pain just so that I remember you. No, I remember you all the time. Going beyond pain and pleasure. This would be my prayer. This is what I was saying. And I won't seek, because when you have pleasure, there will be pain waiting for you. Once you know this,
when you are in pleasure or
Maya.
happiness, do you have that intensity of intensity for Ishvara?
But whether
Do
you want or
have that?
not, the pain will be there. Why ask for
No,
it? This was my
no.
question.
Pain would be there because that is your prarabdha. You have come
Correct.
with that, and you will get. That is not whether you desire or not. You will in certain
That's right.
situations.
That's what
Yeah.
was my question. Why pray for it? When Maya itself is pain and pleasure, it's a play of pain and pleasure, then why ask for it more? And even if you ask, are you going to get it?
Yeah, that
As
is
you
what.
said, according
That
to
is
your
what.
prarabdha, you will be getting it.
Yeah.
So my
That is.
seeking would be beyond these opposites and seek for who I am, which I have not yet got the answer. So seek for that, pray for that. Why not do that? I mean, being in the just maybe mentally we know that, intellectually we might know now that I am that. So how to get over there? As you said, intensity would be more, but then I don't want to be in pain all the time, or I want to go beyond all these. This was
One thing I tell you, like if you are a very higher level of sadhak, you will, though you may be asking for pain, but still you will not feel the pain. It is that whatever unconditional things would come, like they will not be of such a deep intensity. They would be very mild. Like if you have to meet an accident, it will just be a little fall. Or if you have to have a certain illness, which very grief illness, it will convert into a very mild illness. These are the things which happens when a sadhak is on his way, because what goal Ishvara wants, that you take his name, you are praising him, you are praying him. He will not want you in the bed, so that you can't do your spiritual practices. You will be like you will be unfit for doing, because of your health and these things. So it is like it acts like a miracle, that like I've seen so many people that even and the Rishi Bhagwan Ramana also, he was saying that he went into some operations and he did not use anesthesia. It is that power you get, and you these body illnesses or these type of pain, they doesn't matter for a sadhak. You elevate to that level, that the pain doesn't affect you at all. And it is that vyavastha which Bhagwan does for you, that it converts from a big thing to a small thing. This is all is that the effect of bhakti. So it is not that out of fear, that why should I ask pain, why should I ask for unsuitable condition. It is that if a single goal is there, that I just want to take your name whole day, I want to be in your bhakti whole time. That is what Ishvara wants us from. He wants us that we should be in that state whole day, and he will take care of everything. In everything means everything, whatever is happening in our life. So it is not that we are asking for pain, that he will give us pain. He will not. Rather, he will make our life more comfortable, so that we can take his name and we can be in his aura whole day. But due to that, the doubt we have, we don't surrender completely to him, and we always that small I always comes. That is why we think that Advait, we again starting treating as two different people. We don't completely surrender to him. Yeah, you can ask Nana ji. He will explain so much better. But what this Gita chapter is going through, like, it is leading to bhakti now. So at most, what is that after doing all your antakarna shuddhi and everything, that the bhakti is the most important. And after getting this knowledge of all the spiritual knowledge which we are getting, and we are practicing that karma yogi, we are trying to practice, we are getting our antakarna shuddhi, and that until unless that is done, his name will not come inside us. We will keep forgetting him. We will not remember him. Yeah.
I think when faced with adverse situations, like what Percy ji very beautifully is pointed out, that we learn in our advanced course, one first thing is to say this will also change. Sometimes that this is how it is. And then you bring up your valor. And when even that doesn't seem to work, that is when you surrender. And that surrender is a sure shot. So we have these 4 steps when we're dealing with adverse situations. So, and I think it is having
Brahmaraji,
knowledge.
can you please repeat those 4 things?
Yeah. The first thing is that this will also change. This difficult situation is not going to remain how it is. This will also change. The second one is sometimes like the rain in Kamalashile, where the advanced course that Percy ji happened. When it rains or when there is scorching heat, in summer you can't escape the heat. So that is how it is. You accept it that way. So that is the second one. Third is that you bring up your valor from within in order to face that situation. You bring up that valor. You roar like a lion or a lioness, and that inner valor and the inner strength will help you tide over that adverse situation. Finally, if that is also not working, then you have your final astra is your surrender. Say, this is how much I could do. I cannot do any more. I surrender to you. Please take care of me. So surrender will again help you. It'll help you go through that difficult situation. So these situations that we have, painful situations, specifically painful situations, are like the laboratory for us, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Without them, how are we going to use this knowledge of Shitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu or Mana Apamana Tulyaha? How are we going to exercise this knowledge that we have if we are not going through humiliating situations? Right? It is only then that you reflect, you go back into your inner bandar, go and search, oh, what is the knowledge that I'll use here? Oh, my ego is being affected. Who is this ego? What is this ego? So then you go on that inner journey, that inner introspection, and that will clear your mind. That clarity of thinking happens. So next time when such a situation happens, you're not going to be as affected or as humiliated and think, oh, the whole world is against me. I'm small. I don't know any. Instead of that kinchigna bhava that we have when we're faced with humiliating situations, you will rise above that. You'll say, I am the kshetrajna, I am the atma, I am this. So that will give you that inner resilience. So unless we have such situations, pairs of opposites, we will not be able to put this knowledge. Otherwise, it will remain a concept, which is what Nana had mentioned in the previous, I think yesterday's reading. We had this thing that if he says, Ayamatma Gudakesha, Sarva Bhuta Shayastitaha. Bhagavan is saying, I am the Atma in every being. So that will only remain a concept. And unless we, completely live that in essence, it will, learning from the scriptures will be a waste of time and effort. No, so these situations in life give us an opportunity to exercise that knowledge, to put it into practice. Pairs of opposites, see, based on our prarabdha, whatever has to come to you will come to you. If you're nobody has a life which is a bed of roses. There will be pairs of opposites, small or big. The intensity may vary. It is up to us to, put this knowledge in there. So I think, but very
Yeah.
good discussion today.
Yeah,
Sabraji
I'm
says,
reminded of
giver of pain, who is the giver of who is the giver of pain and pleasure, who is experiencing pain and pleasure, which is true. No pain, no gain. And I think that is where, this is where this knowledge helps. And to very nice. I think we'll do this tomorrow again, this shloka, verse 37. We've not completed it, and we'll continue from this tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we have another 5 shlokas to do, 42, right? So let's take it up tomorrow. Someone wanted to say something last.
so chapter 2 is revisited again, no? Chapter
Yeah.
2.
See, chapter 2 is complete in itself. Actually,
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita would have ended there. It is because Arjuna's question in chapter 3 that Krishna had to again start giving him some knowledge. Otherwise, chapter 2 is complete in itself. Yeah. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.